For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On the morning of July 12, 1996, 36-year-old park ranger Hunter Williams left a group of hikers in Big Bend National Park, Texas, to scout the trail ahead. He never returned. Despite an extensive search involving helicopters, tracker dogs, and hundreds of volunteers, Hunter vanished without a trace. For 29 agonizing years, his family lived with the unbearable weight of uncertainty, clinging to the hope that one day they would learn his fate. Then, in the spring of 2025, a retired ranger made a startling discovery: a hidden map tucked inside a donated book, marked with clandestine meeting points in Hunter's distinctive handwriting. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Hunter Williams in the unforgiving wilderness of Big Bend National Park. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. Hunter Williams was a fixture in Big Bend National Park. A respected park ranger with over a decade of experience, he possessed an intimate knowledge of the park's rugged terrain, its hidden canyons, and its diverse ecosystem. He was known for his unwavering dedication to preserving the park's natural beauty and for his ability to connect with visitors, sharing his passion for the wilderness. In the spring of 1996, Hunter led a guided hike into the park's vast interior, a popular excursion for experienced hikers seeking a deeper immersion in Big Bend's challenging beauty. The group, comprised of 8 individuals, set off on a clear April morning, the anticipation of adventure hanging in the air. Hunter, as always, led the way, his familiar stride confident and sure-footed. A few miles into the hike, Hunter informed the group he would scout ahead to ensure the trail remained clear, a common practice for him. He assured them he would return shortly. He vanished into the dense desert scrub, and that was the last time the hikers saw him alive. When Hunter failed to return, the group's initial concern quickly morphed into alarm. They waited, calling out his name, but only the echoing silence of the canyons answered. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the desert floor, the hikers made their way back to the trailhead and reported Hunter missing. The news of Hunter's disappearance triggered a massive search effort. Park rangers, aided by volunteers, local law enforcement, and search and rescue teams, combed the area. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their rotors churning the still desert air. Dogs trained to track human scent were deployed, their noses to the ground, following invisible trails through the rugged landscape. The search area encompassed hundreds of square miles of unforgiving terrain, steep canyons, rocky cliffs, and vast stretches of desert scrub, all under the relentless Texas sun. The hikers who had last seen Hunter were interviewed repeatedly, their recollections of the day meticulously documented. They recounted Hunter's cheerful demeanor, his expert guidance, and the uneventful nature of the hike up until his disappearance. They offered no clues, no hint of what might have befallen him. Days bled into weeks, and the search continued, but yielded nothing. No clothing, no equipment, no sign of struggle, no trace of Hunter Williams. The vastness of Big Bend, its imposing beauty, had seemingly swallowed him whole. The official search was eventually called off, a decision met with heartbreak and frustration. For Hunter's family, the unanswered questions were a torment. The not knowing, the lack of closure, became a heavy burden they would carry for years to come. The mystery surrounding Hunter's disappearance cast a long shadow over Big Bend National Park, a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of the wilderness and the fragility of human life. The initial investigation into Hunter Williams' disappearance was hampered by the very landscape that he loved. The vastness of Big Bend National Park, its rugged terrain and isolated canyons, presented a formidable challenge to investigators. Early theories ranged from a simple hiking accident, where Hunter had become lost or injured in the challenging terrain, to an encounter with a predatory animal. Mountain lions, black bears, and venomous snakes all called Big Bend home, and while attacks on humans were rare, they weren't unheard of. Foul play was also considered, but initially, there was no evidence to suggest it. The original investigators, seasoned park rangers and local law enforcement officers, faced a daunting task. The sheer size of the search area made a thorough investigation incredibly difficult. The lack of any physical evidence, footprints, discarded equipment, or signs of a struggle, only added to the complexity. Interviews with the hikers on the trip provided no significant leads. They consistently described Hunter as experienced and cautious, unlikely to stray from the trail or take unnecessary risks. Kyle Griffin, a fellow park ranger and a close friend of Hunter's, was among those interviewed. He spoke highly of Hunter's professionalism and wilderness skills, echoing the sentiments of others. He cooperated fully with the investigation, offering assistance in the search efforts and sharing his knowledge of the park's backcountry. Archival photographs showed the two men together, smiling, seemingly enjoying each other's company. They appear to be close colleagues, united by their shared passion for Big Bend. One early theory focused on a remote spring several miles from where Hunter was last seen. It was a known water source, and investigators speculated that Hunter might have deviated from his intended route to refill his water bottle. The area around the spring was thoroughly searched, but no trace of Hunter was found. Another lead involved a reported sighting of a lone hiker matching Hunter's description in a remote canyon a few days after his disappearance. Rangers investigated the sighting, but it proved to be a false lead. The hiker in question was identified as a tourist from out of state, and his presence in the canyon was unrelated to Hunter's disappearance. As weeks turned into months, the initial optimism surrounding the investigation waned. The lack of progress frustrated investigators, and the absence of answers left Hunter's family and the Big Bend community in a state of agonizing limbo. The case began to grow cold, the trail of clues fading under the relentless desert sun. Time, an unforgiving force in the vast expanse of Big Bend, marched relentlessly onward. The seasons changed, painting the desert landscape in a rotating palette of colors, but the mystery surrounding Hunter Williams' disappearance remained stubbornly monochrome. Hope, once a flickering flame, dwindled to a faint ember. The initial flurry of activity, the helicopters, the search dogs, the teams of volunteers, faded into a distant memory. The case files, thick with interviews and speculation, gathered dust on a shelf, a testament to the unsolved mystery that haunted the park. The difficulty of solving missing person cases in national parks, particularly in remote and rugged areas like Big Bend, is well documented. The vastness of the wilderness, the unpredictable elements, and the often limited resources available to investigators create significant challenges. Cases can quickly go cold, leaving families and communities grappling with unanswered questions for years, even decades. For Hunter's family, the passage of time did little to ease the pain. The holidays, once occasions of joy and celebration, became bittersweet reminders of their loss. Birthdays passed unmarked, anniversaries observed in quiet reflection. The empty chair at the dinner table, the silence in the house where Hunter's laughter once echoed, were constant reminders of the void his absence had left. They clung to the hope that one day, somehow, the truth would be revealed. The unsolved case also cast a pall over the Big Bend community. Hunter had been a beloved figure, a respected ranger, and a friend to many. His disappearance left a wound that refused to heal. The park, once a symbol of untamed beauty and adventure, now held a darker undercurrent, a sense of unease. Hikers ventured into the backcountry with a heightened awareness of the risks, the story of Hunter Williams serving as a cautionary tale. The initial shock and disbelief eventually gave way to a sense of resignation, a grudging acceptance that the truth might never be known. The mystery of what happened to Hunter Williams on that clear April day in 1996 seemed destined to remain unsolved, another ghost story whispered around campfires under the vast, star-studded sky of Big Bend. The case, seemingly consigned to the annals of unsolved mysteries, became a cold case, a file tucked away, a memory fading with time. Nearly 3 decades after Hunter Williams vanished without a trace, a seemingly innocuous discovery breathed new life into the cold case. In the spring of 2025, a retired park ranger, volunteering in the Big Bend archives, stumbled upon a faded hand-drawn map tucked within the pages of a donated book. The book, a well-worn field guide to the flora and fauna of the Chihuahuan Desert, had been donated to the park library years earlier by Kyle Griffin. The map, drawn on a piece of aged parchment paper, depicted a series of clandestine meeting points marked with cryptic symbols and notations. Several locations corresponded to remote areas within Big Bend National Park, far from established trails and known landmarks. What caught the retired ranger's eye was the handwriting on the map. It bore a striking resemblance to Hunter Williams' distinctive script. A closer examination confirmed the suspicion. The notations, written in a faded ink, included references to specific geological formations and landmarks known only to experienced park rangers. Forensic analysis of the map further solidified the connection to Hunter. Handwriting experts compared the script on the map to samples of Hunter's writing from park records and personal letters. The analysis concluded with a high degree of certainty that the notations were indeed made by Hunter Williams. The discovery of the map, hidden within a book donated by Kyle Griffin, immediately shifted the focus of the investigation. Griffin, once a close friend and colleague of Hunter, now became a person of interest. The retired ranger, recalling the close relationship between Hunter and Kyle, was stunned by the discovery. They remembered Griffin's active participation in the initial search efforts and his public expressions of grief over Hunter's disappearance. The map, with its clandestine meeting points and Hunter's handwriting, suggested a hidden layer to the story, a secret that Hunter had uncovered and that may have ultimately led to his demise. The map's discovery reignited the investigation, bringing a renewed sense of urgency and purpose. The cold case, long dormant, was suddenly hot again, the faded ink on the old map offering a tantalizing glimpse into the truth behind Hunter Williams' disappearance. Agent Isabel Green, a seasoned FBI investigator with a reputation for cracking cold cases, was assigned to lead the renewed investigation into Hunter Williams' disappearance. Green, known for her meticulous approach and unwavering determination, saw the discovery of the map as a crucial piece of the puzzle. She immediately assembled a team of investigators, including forensic specialists, park rangers familiar with Big Bend's backcountry, and experts in artifact smuggling. Green's first step was to revisit the original investigation, meticulously reviewing the case files, re-interviewing witnesses, and re-examining the physical evidence, or lack thereof. The hikers who had been on the trip with Hunter were contacted again, their memories now clouded by the passage of nearly 3 decades. While their accounts remained consistent with their original statements, Green's fresh perspective allowed her to glean new insights from their recollections. The focus of the investigation quickly shifted to Kyle Griffin. Green delved into Griffin's life in the years following Hunter's disappearance. He had continued to work at Big Bend National Park, rising through the ranks to become a senior ranger. He was well respected in the community, known for his dedication to the park and his expertise in its natural and cultural history. Green's team began to discreetly investigate Griffin's activities, both inside and outside the park. They examined his financial records, his travel history, and his personal relationships, searching for any anomalies that might connect him to Hunter's disappearance. Their investigation uncovered a disturbing pattern. Griffin had been involved in a clandestine operation, smuggling Native American artifacts out of Big Bend National Park and selling them on the black market. The remote meeting points marked on the hidden map corresponded to locations known to be rich in archaeological resources. Experts in artifact smuggling were consulted, providing insights into the lucrative and often dangerous world of illicit antiquities trade. They explained the methods used by smugglers, the networks they relied on, and the lengths they would go to protect their operations. The investigation revealed that Griffin had been using his intimate knowledge of the park's backcountry to locate and excavate valuable artifacts. He then used the clandestine meeting points marked on the map to transfer the artifacts to buyers outside the park. The emerging picture painted a disturbing portrait of greed and betrayal. Hunter Williams, known for his unwavering commitment to preserving the park's natural and cultural heritage, had likely stumbled upon Griffin's illegal activities. The cryptic symbols and notations on the map suggested that Hunter had been documenting Griffin's movements and gathering evidence against him. The investigation was now focused on proving the link between Griffin's smuggling operation and Hunter's disappearance. The pieces of the puzzle were beginning to fall into place, revealing a dark secret that had been hidden for nearly 30 years. The interrogation of Kyle Griffin was a slow, methodical process. Agent Green, armed with the map and the mounting evidence of Griffin's smuggling operation, approached the interview with a quiet confidence. Griffin, initially cooperative, maintained his innocence, claiming he had no knowledge of the map or its contents. He reiterated his earlier statements about his close friendship with Hunter and his devastation at his disappearance. He portrayed himself as a dedicated park ranger, a man committed to protecting Big Bend's natural and cultural resources. As Green presented him with the evidence linking him to the artifact smuggling operation, Griffin's composure began to crack. He denied any involvement, offering weak explanations for the financial discrepancies and the suspicious travel patterns that the investigation had uncovered. The breakthrough came with the introduction of a new witness, Aaron Delgado. Delgado, a former park ranger trainee, had worked at Big Bend in 1996. He had been reluctant to come forward initially, fearing repercussions, but Green's persistence and assurances of protection finally convinced him to speak. Delgado's testimony proved to be the linchpin of the case. He recounted an incident he had witnessed shortly before Hunter's disappearance. He had overheard a heated argument between Hunter and Griffin near the park headquarters. Delgado had not heard the entire conversation, but he distinctly remembered Hunter accusing Griffin of something illegal, threatening to report him to the authorities. He recalled Griffin's angry denials and the escalating tension between the two men. Based on Delgado's account, investigators were able to reconstruct the confrontation between Hunter and Griffin. Hunter, armed with the map and the evidence he had gathered, had confronted Griffin about his smuggling operation. He had given Griffin an ultimatum: confess and face the consequences, or he would report him to the authorities. Griffin, cornered and desperate, had reacted violently. In a fit of rage, he had shot Hunter, silencing him permanently. Confronted with Delgado's testimony and the overwhelming evidence against him, Griffin's carefully constructed facade finally crumbled. He confessed to shooting Hunter Williams, describing how he had panicked after the shooting, hiding the body in a shallow grave near the Rio Grande River. He then planted false leads, hoping to mislead investigators and divert suspicion away from himself. He admitted to donating the book containing the map to the park library, believing it would be lost among the countless other volumes, a silent testament to his deception. Griffin's confession sent shockwaves through the Big Bend community. The respected park ranger, the trusted colleague, the grieving friend, was revealed to be a murderer. The betrayal was profound, the sense of disbelief palpable. For the investigators, the confession brought a mixture of relief and sadness. The mystery had been solved, but the truth was far more tragic than anyone could have imagined. For Hunter's family, the news brought a long-awaited sense of closure, but also a renewed wave of grief. The confirmation of their worst fears, the knowledge of how Hunter had died, and the betrayal by someone he had considered a friend, reopened old wounds. The arrest of Kyle Griffin sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community of Big Bend National Park. The man who had been a respected park ranger for nearly 30 years, a pillar of the community, was now a confessed murderer. News of his arrest spread quickly, leaving residents and park employees stunned and reeling from the betrayal. Griffin's trial was a somber affair. The prosecution presented a compelling case, detailing the evidence of Griffin's artifact smuggling operation, the hidden map, Aaron Delgado's crucial testimony, and Griffin's own confession. The defense argued that the shooting had been accidental, a result of a heated argument that had spiraled out of control. The jury, however, was unconvinced. After deliberating for several hours, they returned a guilty verdict, convicting Kyle Griffin of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, his career and reputation in ruins. With Griffin's confession, the search for Hunter Williams' remains began in earnest. Griffin led investigators to a remote area along the Rio Grande River, a desolate stretch of land hidden amongst dense thickets and towering cottonwood trees. Dr. Michelle Townsend, a renowned forensic anthropologist, was brought in to assist with the recovery effort. Her expertise in identifying and analyzing human remains was critical in locating and excavating the shallow grave where Griffin had buried Hunter's body. The recovery of Hunter's remains, though a somber occasion, brought a measure of closure to his family. After nearly 3 decades of agonizing uncertainty, they finally had the answers they had been seeking. They could finally lay their loved one to rest. A memorial service was held for Hunter at the park headquarters. Rangers, park employees, community members, and Hunter's family gathered to pay their respects and celebrate his life. Stories were shared, tears were shed, and memories were cherished. The service was a testament to the enduring impact Hunter had on the community and the profound loss his absence had left. The resolution of the case brought a sense of relief to Big Bend National Park. The long shadow that had hung over the park for so many years finally began to lift. The truth, though painful, had been revealed, and justice had been served. Hunter's family, while still grieving, expressed gratitude for the tireless efforts of the investigators and the support of the community. They spoke of finding peace in knowing that Hunter's legacy would not be defined by his tragic death, but by his dedication to protecting the park he loved. The case served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of truth and justice. It also underscored the vital role that national parks play in preserving not only natural wonders, but also the stories and memories of those who dedicate their lives to protecting them. The legacy of Hunter Williams, the dedicated park ranger who vanished into the vastness of Big Bend, would forever be intertwined with the park's history, a story of tragedy, betrayal, and ultimately, the triumph of truth.